Hey everyone, we just want to remind you that this is just a silly podcast.
Yeah, like baby games.
Yeah, it's meant to be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be funny.
I mean, it's much fun as you can have bitching, but yeah, go on.
I have a ton of fun bitching. Our hate is it's purely hyperbole. There's enough actual hate in the world already. All right.
Speak for yourself. I joined the group.
We love everyone. We encourage you to do the same.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Heck, you gotta try. And now on with the show.
You should be barricaded in your house and kept off of the street for sterilized, lobotomized, left in a car in heat. Cause the things you say and do tell me your brain cells are with you, and that is why I hate you.
Yeah, welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matthew.
And I am in pain. I'm Joaquin. Hi. Hi, everyone.
What's going on, folks? We're here recording an episode for the second consecutive week. We're on time.
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Hopefully, it's the start of a rally. What do they call it in sports?
A trend? I don't know.
I'm not a sports fan. I'm a hockey fan. I don't really like sports other than hockey.
I'm not a sports fan, except for a fan of this sport.
Yeah, but I think when you say sports fan, that you're indicating multiple, right? It's sports. It's more than one. It's plural.
I mean, I guess. I
guess I'm a sport fan.
Okay, fine. Because, I guess, like, I don't consider myself a sports fan, but I like boxing and MMA and stuff like that. But I don't, like, and I'll watch football randomly.
Oh, we haven't talked about MMA. I started watching a little MMA recently. I watched the last couple UFCs.
Okay.
I don't know why. I put one, I think, like, not the last one, maybe 2 or 3 ago. I randomly was like, I'm gonna watch this. And I enjoyed watching people beat the shit out of each other.
I always like combat sports. I think that was the best way to get that kind of energy out, is like watching people who are good at it do that thing.
Yeah, I actually find it kind of interesting to watch and see the tactics. And I remember, I think the first one I watched, there was one dude who was he just kept kicking the one dude like in the leg over and over. And I was like,
so brutal.
But I'm watching it and I was like, he's just kicking him in the leg. And then like later in the fight, the dude's leg just like gave out and he was just couldn't stand anymore. And he fell down, was holding it. And I was like, oh, I guess kicking the shit out of your leg over and over again really does hurt a lot.
Well, because everybody stereotypes combat sports into like these big dumb lugs just beating the hell out of each other. It's like, for a good chunk of it, you could say that on the surface, but there is such thing as like combat intelligence or fighting intelligence, and you can see it in a lot of people.
I didn't realize that there was that level of strategy to it. I like you said, I kind of thought it was just two guys just kind of trying to beat the shit out of each other. I know there's some level of tactic. They obviously have to learn some sort of martial art, some sort of strategy to some. Oh my God, stop barking! To some degree, but I didn't know there was really that level of strategy. Like, okay, you see that opening? He's leaving his leg open. All right, keep attacking his leg. And man, I didn't think about the fact that I guess if you get kicked in the leg 30, 40 times in a row,
the muscle is swollen. It doesn't contract. It doesn't move. You don't want to step on it. You like there's a lot you can So I watched boxing growing up. My parents were really into boxing, and that was like the only time we all got together in the same room. We'd even do that for dinner, and we would just watch boxing on HBO. And I loved watching it. And one thing you learn is like morality is a huge thing. That's why when they like shit talk in the beginning, when you got like a boxer like Roy Jones Jr., when he came out, he was super arrogant, and everybody was just like scared of him. And he was more of a showboater. Well, no, he was totally skilled, but he was a huge showboater, and that was a big part of the game. That's why Muhammad Ali, same thing. Like, you just get into their heads, and then you just implement a strategy, and it works, because you don't actually have to be stronger than them to do that.
No, I guess to a certain degree, all that shit-talking stuff, you get in their head, they're just I've realized that this is going to sound silly, but even at video games, because I have no athletic skill, but even with video games, like I've noticed it, the madder I get, the worse I do. So I can see that, like getting somebody's head, just getting them so pissed off, they just kind of forego the strategy part of it. They just want to beat the shit out of the other person, and they leave themselves open to, whatever strategy the guy has in mind, because they're not thinking about okay, I have to protect myself here. I have to watch that. They're just like, I just want to punch this guy in the face. But I was surprised because I don't know, when I was first watching it, I think part of me was just waiting for those, 'cause, you know, I've seen the clips online and stuff. I'm just waiting for some big knockout, somebody to just land a punch and just the floor the other guy. And it seems like a lot of it wasn't that. It was mostly just wearing the other guy down.
Submission is a huge thing.
Yeah, just the last one I watched, the whole thing was them just beating the shit out of each other, and then eventually the guy, I think it was like towards the end of the round, I don't know any of their names, but the one dude just ran in, pulled the guy down, got behind him, and was choking him out, and that was it.
Yep.
And I think the other guy was just too tired at that point to do anything about it.
Yeah, when you're not able to protect your back is a huge thing when you watch MMA. Like once they stop protecting their back, it's done. Same thing with arm bars, leg locks. Like they just brutal.
The announcers were saying a lot of that stuff. Oh yeah, you know, oh, he's got to protect his back. Oh, he's leaving him open there. I was also really surprised by how the two guys would just beat the fucking shit out of each other, and then out of nowhere they'd finish the fight and just be hugging each other and be like, "Yeah," like really total camaraderie after just beating the living shit out of each other.
Well, yeah. Usually with promos, it's kind of weird because like if it's a big like if it's like a top tier fight or something like that, you'll see like build that huge rivalry. And one thing I don't like is when two rivals actually hate each other. A lot of people love that shit. I never did. I mean, it's like you're doing this as a professional sport. You're not like two warrior tribes or anything. You're literally a professional like athlete. So that professionalism I feel like still needs to be there. And that's just me. If you like that shit, I'm not saying that I don't care. If you like it, you like it. You're not everybody's gonna like each other or anything like that. But for some reason, for me, that is way more entertaining to watch. Saying, look, just understand, I respect you, but I'm going to beat the living shit out of you. Just so you know that. Like, I respect you enough. I watched your fight tapes. I know how you move. So I'm just gonna outmove you and embarrass you in front of everybody. And then afterward, we'll get a pizza or some shit. Like I love that. That mentality. I love that shit so much.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying though, because it is, like you said, it's just supposed to be a professional thing. They're just supposed to go in there, beat the shit out of each other, and then that's that. And if they really, really hate each other, it turns from a athletic competition to like literally a grudge match. You know, just in there to beat the shit out of each other because they don't like each other. I do remember the last fight. What's the Irish dude's name?
Conor McGregor.
Yeah. I remember I did watch his last fight and his leg like broke on him and it was gross. But I remember watching him. He lost and then he's sitting there in their interview and he was just talking shit like after he broke his leg and fell down. And I was watching like, dude, you get your ass kicked and you're like still shit talking the guy on the ground. You can't even stand up and you're talking shit.
The guy didn't do anything but block his kick and barely did that, if I remember correctly. Conor just kicked wrong in the wrong spot and snapped that fucking shin.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
Like, my skin crawled so hard on that one. And
yeah, me too.
I'm not a fan of Conor. I never liked Conor McGregor as a person, like the person he presents anyway. Because again, that's the antithesis of what I like about, a sportsman. But I won't slack on his skill. He was really skilled. He's what I thought an Irishman would be like. Just
brawler.
Get drunk and beat the shit out of you. Or shite or whatever, however they pronounce it. And he did that. But again, that bravado can only last so fucking long and then you embarrass yourself.
Yeah, he was laying on the ground. He couldn't even stand up and he's talking shit. I'm like, dude, you literally
just stop.
I could come over and probably kick you in the head at this point. You can't stand up. I could kick
And mind you, I think that was after he got his ass beat for punching a civilian. Like he punched somebody in like a bar or some shit and got beat up because MMA doesn't 100% translate to real life fighting because you have to set yourself on rules.
Sure. Yeah. There's rules. Yeah.
And I pretty much, at this point, I call that the Kanye effect. I think that's what, from now on, this is what I'm going to call it. The Kanye effect. When you build a character that's based on ego and bravado and then you lose the plot and you just become that character. That you can't turn around. You can't leave or move away from that shit at all.
Yeah, no, that seems to happen also. That seems to happen often. Oh, this is going to lead well into our topic, which I'm not ready to hit yet. But I got a jury duty notice in the mail.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset. I feel like I just did it. I've never actually had. Have you ever had to serve on a jury?
The closest I got was I was in the courtroom and they forgot my paper when they drew names.
Oh, okay.
They literally forgot it.
I mean, this is probably at least the fourth or fifth time I've had to go, and every time I've gone so far, I've been excused for one reason or another. I think the last time I went, I got as far as they brought me into like the back, and they were going to ask questions or something, and at that point I had a regular therapy appointment, I think it was.
Okay.
And I just told the woman, I was like, hey, I do have a regular therapy appointment. Is that going to be a problem? She was just like, oh, you can go. And then that was that. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the idea of serving on a jury. I don't like the idea of having to be the decider
To
of
judge
anything.
people with actual consequences.
Yeah, I just want to sit here and judge them on a podcast. I don't want to have to
You know what? Honestly, and this sounds really shitty, from the side of a court, you would be the type of person I would want for that reason. Like, you don't want to necessarily do that. Not because you're like, no, this is going to be boring, this is going to be in my way. It's more so, I'll take it seriously. This is someone's life.
Yeah.
So
I actually think I'd be a good juror because I think I would have absolutely no problem separating the person and how I feel about them and the person that they are, what they give off, the vibe they give off with, okay, hey, here's the law, here's what the evidence is, here's how you're supposed to decide. I think I would no problem with that. Like, here's how it works. This is the law, this is the evidence we have, here's how you're supposed to make the decision. I don't think I have any problem with that. It'd be super easy for me to separate those and just logically come to the conclusion, okay, this is how I feel about it. But yeah, I don't want to be there. And I mean, I think with our local courts, it's typically like really bullshit stuff you're going to be deciding on.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you think so?
No, you'd be very surprised. At least what we get around here. Like, I think I'll say it like this: you would get there's a small percentage you would be on a big court case, but like I was almost the one that they forgot my ballot in. It was going to be like a grand jury hearing, and then later on I found out what it would have probably have been that I would have been a part of, and it was like something really serious. I was like, oh shit, okay. Only because I know people that have gone through like jury stuff like that.
But at least with the grand jury, it's, if I recall, I mean, I've watched Law and Order an awful lot, so I believe that's just to decide whether to indict somebody for a crime. So you're not really deciding their fate. You're just saying, okay, you could go ahead and put them in a trial.
Probably. I don't know anything about court. I don't. I just know what I hear.
I mean, I don't want to know a lot about court. Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I don't need to be in court. If I knew a lot about court, not being an attorney, that would probably mean I was in there for other reasons, right?
Yeah, for the longest time, this is really silly. It has little to do with what you're talking about. I was under the mistaken belief that as a veteran, I was exempt from having to go to court. For the longest time, for some reason, I don't know how, I don't even remember where I got that idea in my head. But I thought, oh, so I'm a vet, so I don't ever have to do court. I don't have to do jury duty. And no, what I found out was there was a grace period. There's a grace period from when you get out that you don't have to do jury duty.
Okay.
And so when they first called me, like within the first year of me getting out. I got called to jury duty.
That's quick.
That was really quick. And I called in and I told them I was a veteran. I just transitioned out. They're like, oh, okay. And that was done. I want to say 2 or 3 years later, I got another summons. And I smugly was talking to my wife. And I was just like, yep, all I have to do is call them and I don't have to do it anymore. She went, no, that's not how that works.
I really thought, not that I thought, but I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all, though. It's supposed to be your civic duty. I mean, you've already served your civic duty.
Yeah, I thought it made sense, but apparently it's only certain states, I think, where it's a permanent thing. I could be wrong, but here it's definitely not. And so I got called in like 3 times since then, where I actually had to go to the court office, and this was the closest. Last year was the closest.
They have on here about COVID, and if you're experiencing symptoms, I mean, I feel like at this point they've like there's a built-in easy way for people to get out. They just call and be like, "Oh, I have symptoms."
Yeah, well, breathing, sneezing, breathing, being alive,
Yeah,
breathing, just anything, anything short of being dead is a COVID symptom at this point.
yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe I'll do. Did you ever? We've talked about 30 Rock before, and I don't think you watched it. We do. There was an episode of Jury Duty, and Liz Lemon just goes in like dressed in like a Star Wars outfit.
My God.
To get out of jury duty. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not one of those people that'll just make up an excuse to get out of it. So I guess I'll just have to see what happens. I think I have to go next week, but I don't know. I don't like the idea of like I said, having to go and judge somebody. You're right though. We do have there's a lot of drug cases and stuff around here.
Things that have to do with children, which is just never.
Yeah, well, that's never good. But I mean, I used to know the district attorney fairly well because I used to do work in my line of work. I did work for him, so I did web stuff for him and such. And yeah, he was always coming in talking about this. You know, they just did this operation and busted all these guys for drugs and such. So I mean, I guess there's a lot of stuff like that locally that happens, but I don't know. All right, let's get into our topic. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out in my head if we should try to keep this episode reasonable in length or
let's do a less rambly one. We'll see how that feels.
All right, so today we're going to talk about celebrity hero worshippers. And you know what, Joaquin? I think this one was your idea, so I'm going to let you take the reins.
Damn it. It was my idea.
It was your idea. Well, you have all the good ones, like real I don't know, real like good concept people. Mine's just like that asshole that did that thing. But yours sticks to
theme way better than mine.
No, yours are all like really good. I don't know, more intellectually thought out. Mine is just like, oh, that guy who chews gum loudly when I come up with an idea. You know, it's always just some fucking dumbass thing that's like, really, man?
No,
really?
I like that. I personally like that. I like complaining about consequential things, to be really honest. But I find myself bitching about shit like this. And yes, this is a consequential thing.
No, I like, actually, I think it's a good balance. It's nice to have a balance between like actual consequential things and just dumb garbage that, like, you know, because there's probably people that are going to listen that haven't thought about some of the more consequential stuff, and then there's probably people that have experienced some of the more inconsequential stuff, you know, like, oh yeah, I've run into some asshole doing that, you know, in public. So anyway, go for it.
But yeah, so celebrity hero worship, god damn it, I hate it so much, and it's so silly. It's absolutely silly. So okay, so have you actually ever wanted to keep up with the goddamn Kardashians? I'm less angry about the show than I am of people who legitimately want to watch it, that are excited for it. And
they're out there.
Oh yeah, and I don't mean to judge you, but I am absolutely going to fucking do that, because if it's just for entertainment, great. But there's way too many people defending these pieces of garbage. They're plastic. They're plastic pieces of garbage. We fucking love these people. Now, I like them because I have something to complain about. But I don't watch it. I don't pay into any of the bullshit that they told. Because people defending, and I'm going to bring this up, this is going to be a big thing, Caitlyn Jenner. Fuck Caitlyn Jenner. Khloe Kardashian. I don't believe I'm remembering these names right now.
Khloe. Courtney.
Tyree. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
Obviously, that one. Kim, who got, there is no Tyree. I don't think so. I think I may have made it up. There's
Kendall,
Kim,
Kylie.
Kendall. The oh god, they're all their faces look the same to me.
They do. Well, you know why? I mean, that's by
And
design,
not because they're
isn't it?
related. Yeah, not because they're related. Because if you look at old pictures, they all just look like swarthy white people.
Yeah,
Like
they
they're
all go to
just
the
white
same
people who
doctor.
are, yeah, they're people who can tan. And oh my god, but was it Kim got rich, and well, that she was always rich, but Kim got popular because of a sex tape. I don't give a shit what anybody says. She was doing stuff before that. No, nobody gave a fuck about her until Ray J put that shit out.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was, God, it seems like forever ago.
Forever ago.
I remember.
There's a new thing about this. There's new shit about that video.
But it was like, it was like night vision looking, right?
No, that was Paris Hilton's. That was Paris
okay.
Hilton's. No, Kim was really funny. It was basically all face, and then her butt, and then Ray J's face. Like, if there was an emoji, that's what it would be. It would be the little yellow face with with a moon, and then the black face right behind it. but and then her annoying fucking voice, which that's an absolute fucking no.
To go back to your point earlier, though, I wonder how, like, I always watch them and see not just them, but all of these like caricatures of human beings. Yeah. I wonder how much is real and how much is a show, and how much it was a show and it's just who they are now. Like you were talking about. Kanye.
At this point, I don't know, because like for the longest time, so growing up, instead of having hero worship, like I had celebrities I liked. Some celebrities I was like, I wish that guy was my uncle, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's different though.
But I did something on the opposite spectrum where I hated certain celebrities just for existing, which I think was really dumb now. I was just like, man, I hate Britney Spears. I just fucking, her existence just annoyed the shit out of me.
Just the fact that she be.
Yeah, like I liked Christina Aguilera just to be the antithesis of liking Britney Spears, even though they both were technically doing the same thing at the time.
I liked Christina Aguilera better because her record was better.
Well, she was a better singer. Yeah. Britney, in my opinion, was talented, could not sing. That was just my feeling.
But their first two records were around the same time, and just Christina's was way better.
Yeah, boy bands, didn't like them. Just did not like boy bands, any of them. And only reason why I started liking Lance Bass at any point was because he voiced Sephiroth for like 2 seconds in Kingdom Hearts. That was it. Like, that was how stupid I was about it. But literally thinking back to it and going, like, learning, like, the shit Britney Spears went through, because she went through some shit. Same thing with Kesha, the shit she went through. Yeah. And I was just like, why do I hate them? It's not because I hate them. I hate how they're marketed. I hate the character. And then there's the celebrities who essentially were the characters, or caricatures, as you put, like the Kardashians are all caricatures, where stupid shit can be said about, oh, she's the youngest entrepreneur and she built everything on her own. What the fuck? Are you kidding me right now? No, she didn't.
Well, you can't take somebody who's in a family of wealth and celebrity and compare them to anybody who literally had nothing. And built what they had.
Absolutely can't.
You can't make that comparison.
We do that for so many. We did it for our former president. He memed about it. And it's just like, they can just say it. They can just say the stupid thing and nobody gives a shit. It's like, because you like them so much. The fact is that we have politically, we have the Democrats and Republicans, which, two-party system, dumb, get it. But let's just bring it down to, we have the Democrats and the Republicans. Then in the pushing left on Democrats for a while, we had Hillary stands. Mm-hmm. And pushing on the right, Trump stands. Why? Why do we have that? Because now you're just celebrity hero worshipping and just ignoring everything else. Do you know how stupid you look just sucking someone's dick? They're doing nothing for you, but you're just willing to lick their boots just because it gives you a dopamine rush, I guess.
We touched on this in the last episode, with people with like Trump flags and Trump t-shirts and Trump signs everywhere, which is just fucking nuts. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I hated the "I'm with her" shit too. Don't get me wrong.
same thing.
I bet you if she was president, that shit would be everywhere too.
You think so? Yeah, it'd be the same.
Oh
the
yeah,
same.
I'm. It would be just as insufferable, except with purple hair. That's it.
No, you're probably right. It would probably. I mean, I still see, the bumper stickers. Go back to the very first episode.
Oh god.
I still see people with "I'm with her" bumper stickers and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, you just got that little reminder on the back of your car that you were wrong and you lost. Constant reminder that
Just constant.
It didn't work out and you made a fool of yourself for nothing. Maybe that's oversimplifying it a little bit, but
when Twitter started picking up, because Twitter I think was out for a little bit before people really started getting into it, like celebrities and shit.
Yeah.
A celebrity gets to Twitter and everybody's just on their dick, like they're just on it. They want to interact with that celebrity, which is fine. That seems cool. Like if you tweet something and a celebrity goes, "This guy is funny," and like everybody goes, "Yeah, reply guy!" Like they're just so happy. But first of all, we do know that celebrities have managers. They have
marketing team,
PO, like people who do shit for them. How do you fucking know that that's the person you're actually talking to and not their representative?
I think in a lot of situations, it's probably not. I mean, I guess it depends on the level of fame.
Yeah, I'm sure sometimes that they are on it, but I doubt they're always on it.
So, for example, like Penn Jillette, a handful of times I've tweeted him about something and he's responded, and I'm pretty sure it's him responding to the tweet because he's a celebrity, but he's not Kim Kardashian level celebrity, right? But people like Kim Kardashian, Britney Spears, Ryan Reynolds, any super famous celebrity, no fucking way they're the ones responding to. And I think I remember for a while, there'd be a tweet and like if the actual person tweeted it, they'd put like their initials at the end. There was like some sort of coding they'd use and put at the end like, oh, this is actually the real me tweeting. Which even then, it probably wasn't.
I don't even care if it is or isn't really them. What I care about is the person who is jacking off to the fact that this person has responded to them.
And
just have a little bit of skepticism and bring yourself back to fucking reality and go, oh man, that was really cool. Look, I've met celebrities and still was just like, man, that was a cool experience. But I'm not losing my shit over it. Armand Assante is one of my favorite fucking actors, like from when I was a kid.
Really?
I loved Armand Assante.
Really interesting. If you had told me, like, who do you think one of my favorite actors when I was a kid was, I never in 1,000 years
would have said that.
Armand Assante.
I fucking loved The Odyssey. When they played that shit in school, that was my shit. I never slept through that movie. I watched it, like, every time they played it, I would watch it. Odysseus was my fucking dog. And Armand Assante killed that shit. When he was Rico in Judge Dredd, he was the best part of Judge Dredd, and I loved his scenes. He was just so over the top. It was great. I like Armand Assante. That man, when I worked for Samsung, that man came into Best Buy 3 or 4 fucking times. And he did not look like the Armand Assante that I remembered, but it was absolutely him. He had his half button down shirt. And I'm just like, that's cool. He is in the store. Okay, now what? Like, I still got work to do.
Yep.
The fucking dad from Babe, he showed up at one of the stores at Best Buy. Now, these aren't giant celebrities. These are just kind of celebrities who live around here. I hung out with Jason Schwartzman. Oh, yeah? Like, he was in between filming Dead Like Me. I was in school in Soho, and he was filming in, like, this theater next door to my school. And so him and Ted Danson were on break. And Ted Danson was an absolute prick. Like, people remember who the fuck he was. And
now they do, but not at the time.
They were filming the show. I don't even think it was in the first season. I don't think it came out yet. And Jason Schwartzman hung out for a little bit. And it was just me and a bunch of my friends. And we all just hung out. And I knew who Jason Schwartzman was. But it didn't dawn on me until I was at home watching Scott Pilgrim for like the 4th time going,
oh, that's a guy.
Oh, shit. Cool. That is super dope that I got to hang out with him, and he is actually as cool as he seems. But it should go no further than just kind of like, that's cool. That person's in things I like.
Right.
but instead we like people for just being rich,
Yeah, being rich,
breathing, maybe
being selected to be in a movie.
yeah,
You know,
like but even then, when you're selected for being in a movie, at least there's effort being put forward.
that's true.
Tell me why Kim Kardashian is as much, or if not more famous than Kanye West.
She's probably more famous, I would say. And
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
she has
why?
no skills. I mean, I mean, I'm generalizing here. She probably can cook or something. I don't know. Maybe she's got some skills, but she has no marketable skills that are making
Nothing.
her what she is. That's the way I
Yeah.
should put it.
Jessica Alba was huge. Now I'm going to flip the script. Jessica Alba was huge with Dark Angel and Fantastic Four. When she quit, now she's doing her business is like supposedly the super ethical business.
Right.
Nobody's talking about her.
Nope. Not anymore.
Celebrity hero worship style is so fucking ass backwards that I mean, I don't feel like it should exist at all anyway, but it doesn't exist on merit at all.
No, not at all. No. To go back to your point, your what you were talking about earlier. Yeah, you're right. There are an odd. I guess it's because the Catskills area is really. There are a lot of like Mark Ruffalo. I think lives near us. Jason Segel for a while owned a home near us.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. Now I can't. I had his name in my head. The dad from Babe. What the hell is his?
Well, that's what I said. He showed up at my store. Him and his wife.
He lives locally.
Giant. Yeah, he's a fucking giant.
Well, he's still in things all the time. He's on Succession on HBO right now.
Yep,
but
American Horror Story. Never remember his name, but you know
his
face.
James Cromwell. That's his name.
Ah, okay.
He's very. He used to be. There's the power plant near us they built a while ago, which was one of those things that it cracks me up, not in a good way. But I always thought it was funny because they had plans to build that power plant. It's a fracking plant for those who are don't know, obviously, and which is probably everybody. They were planning on building it. Nobody really cared. And then as soon as they started building it, people just came out of the woodwork and started freaking out about it. And it was
people are still out there protesting it. It's been up for over a year now.
So I was gonna say, I mean, I literally on Saturday I saw people outside of it protesting, but James Cromwell was out there all the time, standing on Route 6. I drove past him several times.
Him and his wife are apparently really big into environmental stuff.
They are,
and they
yes,
legitimately like passionate about it.
But I don't know why I brought that back up. But yeah, I'd say he's standing on the side of the road, and I passed by him plenty of times. Just like, oh yeah, that's that guy. When I was younger, I went to dozens and dozens and dozens, probably hundreds by the at some point of music shows. I had a friend who worked in the record industry. I met a lot of musicians, some that I absolutely adored. I mean, people that I like. The Offspring was one of the big ones. I loved The Offspring growing up. Dexter Holland and Noodles, the two dudes from the band, were like big guys. I loved them. I met them and I was just like, hey, what's up? It's cool to meet you. Like I did. I guess this is just us talking about how we're better than other people that like freak out. But I met them, talked with them, and we were talking about our hair because at the time I still had hair and it was big, and I was like, oh, what do you put in your hair to get it stand up like that? And he was like, oh, I use this blah blah wax. I was like, oh, that's dope. I was like, I got to do this. We just had a normal conversation. I met Mastodon backstage once, another band I loved, and just had like normal conversations. Wasn't freaking out. Wasn't like, oh my god, I can't believe this.
Well, okay, so I guess for like cynics, people who actually have a natural tendency to be cynical, I guess might be easier for them to not have celebrity hero worship. But if you're like past a certain age, you need to cut that shit.
Yeah.
And why I get like this, because I feel like it's partial because we're stupid, and partial because we're conditioned to like celebrities. Because when you like try to go back, you think of like, lifestyles of the rich and famous, those old shows. And then that fucking, and I won't even say evolved, but devolved into Cribs. And like when it's just the opulence of that bullshit. Like, yeah, it used to be, man, celebrity, the person I really like really lives in this beautiful house. I would love to get a place like that. To like, y'all fools will never get a house like me. Y'all never live like me. I got a TV in my pool. Like the fuck? What? Like, and then it just keeps going down and down to the point that they don't even have to try. They could just shit on you and then get famous on shitting on people.
Yeah.
And yes, that goes to like, you know, the Daniel Bergoli bullshit and the Little Tay, which was that whole situation was fucking tragic. If you don't know who Little Tay is, Little Tay was like this little, I want to say partially Asian girl. She doesn't look fully Asian, but she's a little Asian girl who would get into fights by flexing wads of money and saying like this is her thing. She's like 9, and she was like she was a flexor.
Christ.
She was a flexor. And then we find out that it was like her brother was the orchestrator and their mother was enabling the whole fucking thing. And since her mom was a realtor for like for rich people, she would like open like the houses that they weren't supposed to go into so the little girl could flex and shit. It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
And now, gone to the ether. All that fucking mental strain that little girl went through, nobody gives a shit. Nobody knows.
No.
But we loved her when she was a little piece of garbage. Oh, we fucking ate it up.
This makes me think about like the celebrity YouTube personalities for kids now, where it's like starting at an even younger age, like fucking Ryan, which thank God my kids are off of Ryan. My daughter actively dislikes him now. But like you've got this little kid that like 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds are worshiping and want to be like, I want to live like him. Why don't I have all these toys? Why don't I have this giant house full of toys like this kid? How come, hey, this kid's parents do these challenges where they have to do everything he says for 24 hours. Why can't we do that? So it's like, it's even bleeding into that now where we've got children worshiping these.
It's weird because the first excuse those parents, usually family channels, will say is like, oh, well, the kids, they're the ones that wanted the channel. I was like, yeah, and the kids want to be wizards and fucking superheroes. Like, fucking get real.
Yeah.
I understand, like, if the child wanted to start some humble YouTube channel, but you also have to understand the nature of the internet. Most of those, if you get 1 million followers, you don't have 1 million kids on your fucking channel watching it.
No.
Let's just be fucking real. They are not kids. That's why they disable the fucking comments most of the time.
Right.
Third of all, once you start doing it on a consistent basis, now you're doing it once every week there's an episode. First of all, it takes about 2 days to film something, have an idea, film it, and then edit it. Once you start getting
Did you eat a cat earlier?
No.
Joaquin looks like he's got hair in his mouth or something.
Yeah, I've been shedding. Yes, I do have a cat. Oh, God, it flipped under my tongue.
Oh.
Oh, it's like
hair in your mouth is the worst.
Yeah, it was like a hair from my mustache flipped into my mouth, tore off, and then went under my tongue and was poking the bottom of my tongue while I was talking.
Yeah, that's irritating. Hairs in the mouth are one of the worst situations.
And it's always worse when it's someone else's hair.
Oh, well, I mean, that's
like 100 times worse.
I generally just pretend it's mine.
I just made myself sick. I had a memory. This is gross. There's nothing
pube stuck in your mouth.
I know it got derailed, but fuck it, I gotta tell the story. I was eating a pizza at a pizza place, and I was chewing the pizza. I pulled it away with a stringy melted cheese, and the cheese went down my throat and stayed, and the rest of it was hanging out. And I tried biting it off, and I bit the cheese, and it was a hair from the pizza down my throat.
Ew.
And I had to pull the hair out with pieces of chewed up food coming out. I felt so, and I was in public, and I was trying not to gag, and I think it was with my coworker, and I felt like I had tears in my eyes. It felt like a horror movie, you know, like when you see there's been a modern horror movie where like this character's like pulling something out of their mouth.
Yes, yeah,
and so I felt like that. It was just string of pizza.
I would have vomited.
I was terrified. And my friend was like, they started like, oh, you know, you should get your money back. I was too traumatized to even want to say anything. I didn't even want to relive it. I just kept drinking my soda. Just like, no, it didn't happen.
The question is, did you peel the cheese off the hair and then re-eat it?
Oh God! Oh, you gotta cut that. I just gagged. Oh my
Sorry.
God!
I'm not gonna cut that. It's funny.
Oh, so gross.
Sorry. All right. Back on topic. We're talking about
they
Ryan
build this
and
whole thing, and now they put this child on the schedule. So now they have their brain development that they have to deal with. They have to deal with school. Then they have to deal with, parents having to discipline if they do or don't. Then they have to deal with their work schedule now. And then being a kid. And as they get older, they're going to have a problem with their, if they are a balanced person and they're not completely warped by whatever is going on around them, they're going to realize their parents commodified them.
yes,
And then they're going to say, well, we're doing it to build up their future. Oh, so you mean that you're paying your child off? Something that they don't understand the money exchange at all.
No, not at all. No.
And still, the big lavish house you have is your house, not your kids. Your kids live in it. It's not their house.
No, I mean, at that point, especially with the YouTube channel, there's, with like child stars, I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm going to assume that there are contracts where the money goes into some sort of fund for the child, the trust for the child. In some cases, I'm not saying all, but there's probably more oversight of that.
The likelihood of that contract existing is...
Yeah. With a YouTube channel, you're literally just talking about a couple parents set this account up. They set up their bank account, and any monetization aspect, anytime the money comes in, it's going into their bank account. There's no, unless the parent specifically set something up, it's just money coming to the parent. And there are a lot of these startups of these with little channels. There's God, I hate to go back to 90 Day Fiance, but one of the couples on 90 Day Fiance, they have a YouTube channel with their daughter now, which is disgusting. And it's I didn't go to look at it, but I saw an article about it, and it's, there are a couple thousand views on each video. So it's just the beginning. But when you get to the level of like Ryan, fucking kid Ryan, where they're literally multimillionaires making millions and millions of dollars a year off of commodifying their child, like you said, how is that kid gonna grow? I don't know how that household doesn't. There's got to be a point where the kid realizes that he's the commodity and goes, all right, motherfuckers, I can do whatever I want now. And it's not going to be at 18. It's going to be at, I don't know, 8, 9, 10.
I don't even think the pendulum can swing in so many directions, like in that way. Like right now, and this is where it's really fucking sad, at least specifically for Ryan. The last I've seen him, he stopped being cute.
No,
he has this raspy, fucking smoker's voice for a kid, which I mean could just be, he's just his voice,
right?
But he's like this raspy style smoker's voice. He wears Coke bottle glasses, like he's a very blind kid.
Yep.
And so they started focusing more on his twin sisters.
Yep.
That is fucking gross. You cannot tell me anything that he just isn't cute enough anymore. He's aging out. You're his managers, not his parents.
Yeah, there's the parents. There's no valid argument other than, we had to reshift our focus to make sure we kept making the money we were making.
Yeah, they have the studio space, but this is part of the celebrity hero worship, though. You are conditioning kids to worship
who you want them
shit.
To,
yeah. And so that becomes their new religion. So if you're somebody who does that, do not talk to me about religion, because I'm gonna judge you just like I judge a religious person. Like you're indoctrinated into that mindset because you gotta worship something. And now you just keep pushing it on to something else. So then when your hero does something human, like lie or mistakenly say something or have an opinion that doesn't align with yours, then you lose your fucking shit. You just lose your shit, like your life fell apart.
Yep.
Like, I understand the ironic meme of saying, at all costs, protect this person who says something that's like in line with what you believe or funny or realistic. I get it, but don't actually feel that way. That is protect them like you would protect any other person. Like, don't go for bat for somebody you don't fucking know, at least to that degree.
Agree. Well, I think that starts to bleed into where I really have a problem with celebrity hero worship, which is when it's one thing to idolize somebody and be like, oh my God, that person. So like, let's just go back to Kim Kardashian. Oh, she's so awesome. I want to be like her. I want to look like her. Oh, I want to have my own business like her. When it really starts to bother me, and this is cross the entire cross section, doesn't matter who they are, famous musicians, comedians, actors,
Mhm.
doesn't matter, when they start preaching, when it's political or any sort of moral or ethical mindset, and I don't care if it's the right way or the wrong way, or if I agree with them or disagree with them, when
Mhm.
they start using their a lot, that's the excuse I hear a lot, right? I have a platform, I have to use it. No, bitch, you don't. Like, if you're a famous actor, I don't need to know your stance on international politics, like,
Yeah.
because you're gonna go out there and you're gonna talk about shit you don't know anything about. When it comes down to it, you are not a politician. You don't know about, let's say, our relationship with China. I don't know anything about the U.S. relationship with China other than what I read online. I'm not an expert, but if I'm a celebrity and I'm going online and telling people this is how you should think, this is how you should believe, this is what you should be doing in respect to this particular political issue, you don't have the credentials. You are not an expert on this topic to go and tell people how they should feel about something. You just shouldn't.
It's not even the fact that, because I don't want to, and this is the argument against and with your point, is them going, well, then I'm a person. You're telling me I can't have an opinion. It's like, yeah,
Right.
but you never posit it as your opinion. You posit it as fact. Or the statement I hate the most, my truth. You're stating it as like that is your truth. First of all, go fuck yourself. Your truth lets you fucking go on a jet ski whenever the fuck you want. My truth means I haven't had a vacation in 5 years because I'm always working and taking care of my family. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
If so, under like, it's the people who want to have these positions where they feel like they have to stand for something because they all go to believe this ideology that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. It's like, that's not true at all. If you don't have a brain, you'll fall for anything. And just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean you have to stand against it. That's the same fucking thing that unfortunately my mother's does. If I don't agree with something she says, doesn't mean I disagree with it. It
Right.
means that I might not fully know enough to say, yeah, you're right. But now you're mad at me because I didn't fully agree with what you said. Maybe I do agree with what you said, but I don't agree how you went about it.
Right.
And
Makes
it
sense.
seems like these celebrities do not fucking recognize that their fucking position also holds way too much fucking weight for one person to handle correctly.
No, I was gonna say that I can't imagine being in a position where I had, I don't know, even 100,000 people, but millions of people that are going to read what I say and what I put out there into the world, and then essentially live by it, or stand by it, or go, okay, this is the way Matthew feels. This is the way I should feel. I don't know if I
Yeah.
could handle that sort of responsibility. It's a lot.
I don't know either. I'll be honest, if for some fucking reason we get super famous, I might have to just change the way I speak. And I don't mean in the way where I speak, like I'm more intelligent. I mean, like, I might have to go, okay, I'm really not sure if I'm right about this. I'm not even going to say this like it's a fucking fact. I'm going to have to, like, preface everything I say. I already kind of do it,
Right.
but I have to do it even more because I will know that, oh no, my ego is going to inflate with the more people who kind of agree with what I say.
Sure. Yeah.
And these people drink that fucking Kool-Aid and just don't understand that they are not right all the time. They can say, well, I know I'm not right all the time. It's like, but motherfucker, you don't act like it.
Right.
You don't act like you don't know everything. Like, for instance, I like Jim Carrey, but Jim Carrey says some stupid shit during Kick-Ass 2. His character was great. The movie is obviously not a pro-gun movie. To be honest with you, as cool as some of the action scenes were, and yes, the movie was not great, but as cool as some of the action scenes were, they were gritty and terrible enough to make you go, oh shit, every time you see somebody get shot, get hit with something, like, it made you give a visceral reaction. So
Right.
instead of getting that, like, dopamine rush you would get from a movie when somebody's gets blown up by a building, and then you just see the building collapse in the fire, but you don't see what happens to the person.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Like, there's a huge fucking difference, right?
Yep.
Jim just in his fucked up head just couldn't understand that, no, I mean, I feel this way, but I'm not right, because there's a cause and reaction to these things. And he stuck by that for the longest time. because he could not recognize that he wasn't right, or that he's not right all the time, or maybe he's only partially right. He's just glorifying gun violence. Are you fucking kidding me?
You do see that sometimes with celebrities where they will, after a span of time, maybe realize what they said was wrong, or they didn't word it right, or they shouldn't have said it. But they can never put the genie back in the bottle. Like,
Oh, no, never.
And a lot of times it like it backfires. Like, let's say, hey, you know what? I was wrong about that. Then they get attacked like, no, you weren't fucking wrong about that. What are you talking about?
Well, that also puts the onus on us then, right? That makes
Sure.
it where the people who worship the celebrities have to go, well, you know what? We got to give them a chance to change their mind, because all that's going to force them to do is to ignore ignore the fact that they said it. They're just going to pretend it didn't happen. Then we're going to pretend it didn't happen, and our relationship gets worse. And we just, like, behind the scenes resent each other while pretending to be in love. All
Yes.
bad relationships work out that way. They
True.
do.
That's true.
You never, if it gets brought up, you ignore it, you act like it didn't happen. And that's what we constantly fucking do. And I will blame every blue checkmark fucking journalist for that shit. First of all, the blue checkmark was for celebrities to prove that the celebrity is the celebrity, or that's the account of the celebrity. That's what it was. Some
Right.
fucking no-name blue checkmark for some reason exists now, where now, oh no, that just means I'm an authority on what I say. Go fucking in a corner somewhere and shut the fuck up. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I never really thought about it that way, but you're right. I don't think you're right. I don't know if it's just, I don't think it's Twitter's policy, but you're right. In the court of public opinion, I guess you could say, I think that is the way the blue check mark is kind of looked at these days, isn't it? It's like, oh, okay, you're an authority on this. I can trust what you're saying. Whatever I see you tweet, especially with like journalists, like you said, if I see you tweet something, it's factual. You're a legitimate source for me to rely back on. I don't know. It's the whole thing is just kind of disgusting to me. I like
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna recall Penn Jillette. It was a while ago on Penn Sunday School's podcast. He talked about how he changed his vernacular, and a lot of times what he says now, he won't say like whatever he's talking about. He won't just say, here's the facts, or here's the information. He'll preface almost everything, and then he still does it. I still hear it, now in the podcast. He'll say, as far as I understand it, when he explains something.
That's a good way to put it. That is a very good way to put it.
Right. Because, and he explained, I'm saying this is the way I understand it. I'm not saying it's factual. I'm not saying it's right. The way I understood it, the way my mind has interpreted the information is this is the way it is. And it's a good preface. And I guess somebody in his position where people are listening to him and are going to report on what he says, it's a nice way to, I don't think he's doing it to protect himself necessarily. I think he's literally doing it to try to make sure people are better informed, when they're listening to what he says.
That's a degree of showing that, at least in my opinion, that feels like it would show that, I'm trying to really understand that, there could be more to what I am saying. And it also is a protective way of doing it. And no matter what, if he says it or doesn't, there's always going to be somebody that's going to find a way to argue the point, because people can argue the point, have no facts, and still argue a point. Like, that's just going to happen. But at least it seems like he's trying to be more forward thinking and understanding of the fact that he might not be right.
Right. And I think, again, listening to the podcast and what he says, I think he very, very, not very, very, it's always in the forefront of his mind that he knows what he's saying may not be correct. That everything, all the information that comes into his brain is interpreted. And then when he repeats something, it's gone through that process of being interpreted by his brain into thoughts, into memories. And then when he repeats it, it's like a game of telephone. It may not be exactly the way it is or the way it was sent. Context matters a lot. Somebody could say something to you and you get the context wrong and you completely misinterpret what their point was or what they were saying to you.
Oh yeah. There's this effect on Facebook. I know there's a word for it, but I don't know what it is. When somebody sees something on their Facebook feed and they just react to it, they never look up, any facts on what they're saying. They just react or they share it, and
Mhm.
the misinformation chain can continue or whatever, because or it's like, this baby, the hospital didn't take care of this baby and the baby died, and then you find out it's actually something from 2003, and the context is actually there in the article, but
Right.
it was cut out, and then yet for some reason we're still talking about it in 2022. Some shit like that, and it always happens. I've fallen for it. I'm sure everybody has, and everyone's too ashamed to fucking to fucking do anything about, to admit it.
Yeah.
They just ignore it and then continue to do the same fucking thing.
Well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because
Well, it is.
when you talk about social media, yeah, there are definitely people that spend hours on there for sure. But I think the general use of social media is probably similar to the way I may use it. It's like
Mhm.
2 minutes here and there. It's okay. I got 2 minutes to kill. I'm gonna pull up my phone, look really quick, and you don't necessarily have the time. And I'm not saying it's right, but I think a lot of people don't have the time. They're sitting in the dentist office waiting to go into their appointment or something, and they just
Then
pull it up. They see something, go, oh, share,
then
oh, like.
I feel like if that's the case, at least with important things, don't sling your opinion around and just treat it as entertainment. Then I've
It's the way
said
it
it
should be.
before. If
Yeah.
that's the case, then do that. But like, I have a friend, she's a bit political. I really only talk to her on TikTok now. And she, like, somebody that she was on the whole landlord thing, scummy landlord thing, and she, she didn't attack the person that posted this thing on TikTok, but she made a response, and she was snarky and really mean about it, told her bad experience with the landlord, and pretty much shat on the person who posted.
Hmm.
And I'm a bit of a masochist, I think it is, um, where I go into the comment section, because why? I just need to hear people fucking be terrible. But there was a comment that said, "You didn't watch the whole video, did you?" And I was like, "Huh." So I went and watched
Hmm.
the whole video, and the guy is literally on her side, but she was so quick to snap on this guy. Didn't even watch the whole video, just watched the beginning. But his whole reason, like, the character he played had blue hair and was like, had kind of bitchy, was to make fun of the way the landlord would perceive this person. And she missed the context completely. Mind you, she's a super smart girl. She's like, has like a history. I think she's a history major. She's an artist, but she fell for it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any correlation with intelligence.
Yeah, there isn't, but people think it is. If any, like, people tend to correlate it with their ego and their intelligence. They think, man, people are gonna think I'm stupid. Maybe not actively, but they think people are gonna think I'm stupid because I did this stupid thing. So fuck it. Now I gotta double down, because that's what people normally do
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah, unfortunately.
And what I did, because I don't think she saw the comment or she was going to start arguing, I messaged her directly, because it passed like a day or two. And it was just like, hey, I think you might. Somebody commented already, so I don't know if you already saw it, but hey, just so you know, um, I'm assuming you didn't watch the whole video before you reacted. Because the other person in the comments was, rightfully being a dick to her about it.
Right. Yeah.
But I was just like, hey, just, you didn't watch the rest of the video. He actually is on your side. I'm sorry you went through what you went through with the landlord. Like, that is really shitty. You should not have gone through that. But you gotta check out the video. And in this instance, you're wrong. We all fall for it, but just so you know, you're wrong. And I didn't say you're wrong. I used more tender words, and I took a minute to write nicer words, because I wanted to say you are wrong, but to say that to somebody just fans their flame. People get internet brain and they just can't think past like their feelings.
Yeah.
So I have to like pick my words very carefully. And it took her about a week to get back to me. And she was like, "Yeah, I realized I did that." And I didn't know if she was going to take it down or leave it up, but so far it's still up. So I don't know if she's going to put addendum to it, or people are just going to ignore it, and that's fine.
At that point, it probably falls down the feed, and it's just yesterday's news, and nobody even remembers, right?
Well, my thing is, she has followers, and I just don't want them to get that wrong idea of this person's message.
Sure.
And then they, without looking at his video, only see the beginning because, it plays through. And like shit on him before they read the whole thing and create another fucking firestorm down the line, because
Right.
that's what happens online. You can't have and mind you, you can't have those kind of disagreements, and especially with celebrities, because a lot of celebrities are very well known to weaponize their audience.
Unfortunately,
Like,
yeah.
you can't correct them, especially internet celebrities. More than anyone, internet celebrities just cannot do it. And I still believe that most of the internet are teenagers and slightly younger. I know we're on it as adults, but we're not on it as frequently as teenagers.
No, it's teenagers and porn. I mean, that's the internet.
And that's not a safe combination at all.
Okay, the two.
That's a questionable combination.
Remember that the teens include 18 and 19, okay?
But where's the cutoff?
Do we want to get into this?
Hell no.
It's an inside joke. Joaquin and I had dinner yesterday, and we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, and there's a topic that came up that we both were kind of like, yeah, I don't know, it's a good idea for us to talk about that. So anyway.
But yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
It is. It's ridiculous. Again,
do you have such low self-esteem that you are gonna fucking kowtow to someone that really their whole career existence is based on you?
Right. Yep.
They're based purely on you. You watch their movies. You get their makeup palette that's no different than any other fucking makeup palette.
Oh, that cracks
it just has a name on it. That's like getting water it's like getting water strictly for the label on it. Well, no, I like the word Polar Springs better than Dasani. Dasani just
Are you making fun of me right now?
To me.
Are you making fun of me right now?
No, I can taste the difference.
Yeah, because you know I have like 10 cases of Poland Spring, like Raj. You saw them yesterday. And it does fucking taste better. All right. I want to go back and touch on what you were talking about as far as weaponizing the audience again, because that's a whole different level that takes it to another whole different level. It takes it to another level, but that's a whole different degree of craziness. It's one thing to have a platform and have all these people that linger on your every word and will do what you say and think what you say. It's another to take advantage of that and sick them on somebody, which is a whole nother level of you as a celebrity hero worshiper going, I'm going to listen to what this person says. I'm going to feel the way they feel. I'm going to think the way I think, but that I'm going to go and do something that I may not do in normal life or I may disagree with morally, because they told me to do it. Whether it be going and attacking somebody else online. What do they call it? The Bayhive?
Oh, Beyonce's thing? The Beehive.
I'm not saying that they go and do that type of thing, go attack people, but like that's like a thing. Like it's a known thing. Like she's got this swarm, I guess. It's a beehive. This swarm of people.
The most I know that they did, and it was fucking crazy, was they blocked. And mind you, it worked to her benefit. It was not anything that was like dangerous, but it was scary because they blocked leaks of her newest album.
Wow.
They found ways to shut that shit down.
Yeah, and I mean, in this day and age, that's a crazy thing to accomplish. Once something's out on the internet, it's there. Like that's just like common. That's like a saying, right? Like once it's on the internet, you can't take it back. So the fact that there are a group of people she was able to go out and do that, like what else could they possibly do? Not just her group, but any other group of that mindset, that size, to be able to do something like that.
Way back in the day, the Beehive would have been similar to that of like the Kiss Club, where they were just weirdos that dressed like the celebrity they liked and would fucking go to like every concert and just like fucking play their music all the time, flipping their hand back and forth with a ring on it or some shit. Yep. That's what they would do. But now they are active like clans.
Sure. Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that we as a whole think cults are so fucking crazy? But like people are building their own doing this shit.
Yeah, and I mean Beyonce is not necessarily a person that's going to use that to her advantage to do something nefarious, but there are others. I mean,
that could.
If you look at the fringes of the political folks out there that are online that have these followings, on both sides, they can
Mhm.
100% take advantage
And
of
they
these groups.
100% would. I do not doubt that any of them wouldn't do it.
Well, probably have. I mean, I can't cite any examples, but I'm sure it's happened.
If anybody on Earth even liked Ted Cruz, I'm sure he would do it in a heartbeat.
This is very true. Yeah. He's
I
probably
mean,
a good example of somebody that would definitely do it.
people technically can say the Capitol riots happened because of that, because they were stands. They weren't
Yep.
Republicans, they were stands.
Yes, they absolutely were
essentially Trump
stands.
stands.
Right.
You could say that. I like the term stand. I realize that's a modern thing based on an old thing, but I really like the word stand. It's just like, it was like, you know what? I don't know why, but yeah. And the thing is, we say Stan and like missing the point, because that's what we all do nowadays. Because Stan was fucking nuts. That's why we're using it. Like, he was out of his fucking mind.
Yeah,
he killed his girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend, and himself, and somehow sent a letter that made it to him after it happened.
Now we have people that proudly call themselves stans of, some celebrity or some.
And I'm 100% sure it came out of being ironic. It was an ironic saying. Just like most things, we say some shit ironically, like meme, the word memetic, and then it just fucking mutated into this thing because fucking idiots are used to saying it. That they miss the point.
No, it's good that we do have that word now, though, because we didn't have a word for that before, really. There wasn't a good word
we
for
had
it.
Literally the word fan, which is based on the word fanatic.
Yeah, but fan doesn't
it's not that intense.
Doesn't give you the degree of the fandom. It's just
but people don't get the degree of the word stan. Yeah, but they don't get the degree of stan. They go like, yeah, I stand this, because it's teenagers too. They're like, well, I stand shipping this character with this character. That's not what stan means, you dumb little shit.
Well, that's any word, right? Like, I'll go back to, and I think this is actually on our list, but when the word literally is
being used figuratively.
Yeah, it's been used figuratively for decades, for forever. But the Oxford English Dictionary actually made it a dictionary definition of the word literally now. Like, in the Oxford Dictionary, you can look up the word literally, and it has the definition as being used figuratively in a figurative sense. So the word literally has a definition that means the opposite of what it's supposed to mean. So that's any word. I mean, you can take any word and just, change it to mean what you want it to mean. But
funny enough, going in line to what we were just saying, there's this anime degenerate on YouTube that my sister got me into because his shit is hilarious. Going by like Absolute Unit, and I watched this video actually a little bit before we started recording. He was talking about why do we like TikTok. It was just a rant, but he was just like, just stop liking TikTok. And he made this point. I wish I could say it as succinct as he did. But essentially he said, like, iPhones were made for people who didn't know how to use computers. Like, they just like, hey, I don't know how to use this. Because his voice is playing in my head. It's like, I don't know how to use this. So I'm gonna, like, and now those are mostly the people who are using the internet. The majority of the people are people who don't understand nuance, who don't understand how to even use the device that they are fucking using. iPhones were made to be fucking easy.
Yeah, yep.
They were. And then they became a status symbol. Remember this. iPhone, the dumbed down version of the cell phone, became a status symbol for people.
That's a very good point. I never really thought about that, but I always referred to iPhone as the dumb person's smartphone. Because it's so easy and simple to use. And now it's a symbol of status.
Yep, that's the majority of the fucking people who are in. They are the people that they convinced. It was convinced that you can put their fucking phone in a microwave to charge it. Those are the kind of people that we have on the internet. Those are the kind of people who are proud to be stans and don't get the idea or the irony of calling themselves a fucking stan. Which is, I just realized the layer of hilarity of stans who don't like Eminem for making fun of their favorite celebrity. That is fucking hilarious to me. But, like, those are the fucking people. And if you have an iPhone and you're listening, hi. That's it. I didn't have anything else to say about that. But I am not smart enough to understand how they do not see the irony of fucking standing for a celebrity for any reason. Liking them is cool. Thinking you're their best friend is insane.
Yeah. That's a different level. I don't know how it gets there, but I don't think it's all that in common. You'd think it would be like, I don't know, like psychopathy. Is that how you say it? Psychopathy,
No,
right?
no, psychopathy, yep.
You'd think it'd be like psychopathy. It'd be like some mental thing where it's probably in a small percentage of the population, but I don't think it is. It seems like
Nope.
it's pretty common. There's, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not gonna know exactly how many people, but I don't think it's that rare for people to feel like that's the way. I don't know. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that stems from? That need?
I feel like we all have a little bit of that in us, and like it's the amount of access that we have to pretty much enveloping ourselves into the thing we like.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say that I think when I was younger, like late teens, early 20s, I could see myself getting to the point where I like am so obsessed with the idea that I have access to this celebrity. If I could think of somebody that I don't think there was ever anybody that I worshipped that much. That there were plenty of people I liked, celebrities I liked, musicians I liked, but I don't know if there's anybody that I liked to that degree. And maybe that's just a part of the time. Maybe now it's easier to get that invested in somebody, but to your point, we didn't have the access. When I was younger, and maybe would have been more susceptible to that. I think some of it's age. I think you age out of it at some point, I hope. But we didn't have that access back when I was younger, and may have been more susceptible to be a celebrity hero worshiper. Where now, like you said, I mean, you can go on Twitter and send a DM, or Instagram and send a DM to a celebrity. Not that they're going to necessarily receive it or respond to you, but there's people that think that they might, or there's always that chance, So you're telling me there's a chance.
Yeah. And it's
that's all
again, we all have it, and it's just we want something so bad. We might be sad. We all might just be very sad. We all might feel super powerless, and that could be another reason why. Like we need something to believe in.
Yeah, just something. Just something to give you that oxytocin.
And a person is tangible. Yeah, a person is tangible. Sex, and I don't mean like as in like actual intercourse, but just sexuality of human attraction, the multiple layers of it, where like you can have a male best friend, and being a straight male, being a male best friend, you might not want to have sex with them, but you have this attraction to them that makes you want to be around them, that you like. If I was a girl, I'd date you, dude.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
Absolutely.
Like, but that's a thing. But like some people might not admit to it, but it's there. It's in the brain. It's how the brain is, because the brain isn't necessarily a gender. It's just has all these different chemicals pumping through it.
Yeah, sure.
But people who I feel like let go of any form of introverted or inward thought or autonomy, project it out and then put it onto other people, and then they like, well, I'm just gonna glob myself onto the ideal of this person. And it is probably a form of psychopathy that could be developing from
maybe
our technology and how we use it. But if it isn't, then it's just because people are fucking awful.
Could be that too. I feel like that's the easier explanation.
Yeah, that's absolutely the easier way to put it.
I don't know. We mentioned it earlier too. Is where's that line get drawn in the sand too? If you're a Twitter personality or an internet personality and you've got followers, like where's that line drawn when you have to stop, putting things out there? Like where's the line where you go, okay, I'm no longer just expressing myself. I am now commanding people or putting the idea in their head.
The girl who either gave up or lost her career, I can't remember which happened to her. She was an up and coming actress. She was the cheerleader in the show Heroes. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Panettiere?
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, she was a child star originally, right? She was famous when she was really young.
And last week, I remember most of us hearing about her was that she got arrested in Japan because she wanted to stop the whaling that
Okay.
was going on. She went out. Now, I don't know how much she used her platform to protest. From what I've noticed, I didn't notice a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, Twitter wasn't as big back then, and I'm sure she probably would have been using it like a fucking loon. But she went out and did her thing. She didn't, from what I remember, she didn't like constantly promote it. She probably said one or two things about it and then did her shit. She didn't try to weaponize her audience to do it. She's like, this is a bad thing. I think shouldn't be done, and I'm gonna go out there with the protesters and do this.
She acted instead of trying to get someone else to act for her.
Yep. One person who was obnoxious as shit but went out and did her shit was Sinead O'Connor.
Mm-hmm.
She was obnoxious as hell, but she would actually go out and protest and was just getting weirdly as desperate as the rest of them. She became her own villain at like later on, but that, like, you know, there is a way for a celebrity to have take a stand for something they believe in.
Well, James Cromwell. I mean, to bring it back to our earlier conversation, I mean, he's a character actor, right? He's not a super celebrity, but he's in fucking everything. And he's been for years.
He's in
out
everyone's
there.
sights.
Yeah, he's out there. You recognize him when you see him. He's out there standing on the side of the fucking road, holding signs, and holding protests, going to meetings in the area. But yeah, doing what he's supposed to do. I don't know if he's on Twitter. If he wanted to get on Twitter, he could probably get a substantial following of tens of thousands of people, 100,000 people. I don't know. But yeah, he's out there doing what he believes in.
So buzzwords I would like to put out that celebrities use that you should just tune out of them on for anybody who's listening is I want to bring awareness to those. That's a phrase that I just feel like once you hear that, just go, I'm going to be questioning whatever the fuck you're saying at this point. I feel that I should bring use my platform for. I should use my platform for is the line. Just that means that they are aware of the platform, but they're going to use it as a fucking turret station. That they're not using it to explain anything. They're going to tell you their opinions on it, and that's it. There was another line that I just again, and I've said it before. My truth is that's a buzzword I can't fucking stand because it's just saying. Yeah, it's
for
literally
me
not saying my opinion. Yeah, it's like you're not saying my opinion because it's a mix between my opinion and I didn't do any research on this. This is just how I feel about it, and I'm going to state it as fact. Because you're using the word truth to go, okay, they're telling the truth. It's supposed to make you think that.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
No, they're not. They're twisting up words. They're speaking like a fucking lawyer. Why do we hate lawyers, but we trust these motherfuckers? If they're an actor, they are a professional liar. That's what they do. Like they pretend. I'm sorry, they're a professional pretender. They're not necessarily lying. Fine, but they're good at it.
Well, pretending is lying by definition.
By definition, right? So let's just call that shit back because let's not forget, Jason Momoa. I like Jason Momoa, but he used his platform both for and against Johnny Depp.
Change his mind. Through.
during the whole Amber Heard thing, he was like all for her in the beginning, like all of us. Everybody was. When I heard about it, I was just like, shit, there goes another actor I like. It's a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
I was so torn. I was just so torn down that I didn't give a shit because it was happening all the time. It was like, yeah, my childhood's just been wrecked between Rule 34 and between Rule 34 and like celebrities being the fucking worst. Like I was done. I gave up liking anybody. Even fucking Sulu was a fucking predator. I just gave up on liking any kind of celebrity, let alone like caring about any of them. Like we've been complaining about this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But like we were all like just fuck him. And I was like, fine, you know what? They dropped him. I didn't like the Pirates movies much anyway. I know, blasphemy. And
the first one was okay.
So it's just like, that's it. The crab scene in, I think it was second or the third, was really hilarious to me. I thought that was great, but that's about it.
Yeah, they went downhill after the first one. Not that the second and third were bad, but they were just not as good.
They're just not as good. Yeah. So, and then, 3 or 4 years fucking pass? And then Amber gets found out. And all fucking sudden, Jason Momoa is changing his tune and say, well, I knew she was weird, or saying some weird, stupid shit. From what I remember, being put out. I was just like, Jay, why didn't you just shut the fuck up? You weren't even in their relationship. Yeah, you worked with her. That's it. Barely.
That's from the get-go. Like, why even comment on it? What does that do? Other than set you up to be wrong later. Like, it doesn't help anything. There's no reason to say anything.
And Amber Heard, and we were going to get to this point eventually. I was not letting this episode end without mentioning her. Is a perfect example of somebody who weaponized her audience. She didn't even have a real fucking following prior.
No, not really.
No. The biggest article about her as Mira was how tight her fucking costume was and uncomfortable. That was fucking it.
Yeah.
But she got a big following from simply standing for something. And now that she did, her stands, no matter what, are saying, she went through this abuse, and if she did that, she was just defending herself. And it's like, I'm sorry, nobody who's in an abusive relationship will talk to the abuser the way she did. And I'm talking about the way she did. Not the words she said, was saying, you're such a baby! Like, I'm sorry, if somebody punched me in my fucking mouth, anytime I spoke up, I'd be too afraid to call them a fucking baby.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And they go, oh, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That sunk my heart listening to how she spoke to him. And not in like, oh, woe is Johnny Depp. No, the man headbutted her at some point. And at the same time, he's an alcoholic and a drug abuser. So he's not of his full faculties during these situations anyway. But the context is, he is not everything she said he is. And she is everything he said that she was.
Well, I think people forget in situations like this. And again, I don't know why it even matters. Who gives a fuck about two celebrities who are having marital issues or relationship issues? Who gives a flying fuck? Doesn't matter to me. There are people that will take care of any, domestic issues if there's like real violence and shit going on. That's not my job. But when it comes down to it, people forget. Both people can be a piece of shit sometimes.
Thank you.
You don't have to take a side all the time. Sometimes both of them just suck. And that's the way it is.
Yeah. And you know what? What really gets me is I hate fake fence sitters. People who are all Amber Heard in this situation specifically, because this goes to all celebrities and all arguments we have, is you were all Amber Heard, but then when you found out she wasn't as great, your opinion instantly goes, they both weren't that great.
Yeah, that's different.
No, you disingenuous piece of shit. That is not how this works.
No.
You admit you were wrong. Because I do not want you coming back when something else happens and saying some stupid shit like this.
Well, just in any situation where you want to take a side, and like I said, sometimes you don't have to take a side, but any situation where you want to take a side, just keep in mind, both can be wrong.
Yes.
There doesn't have to be a right. There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser. Sometimes both of them are wrong.
Mm-hmm. And just because with the whole trial, when it happened, because I did follow it, I followed people's reactions more than I followed the court proceedings themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the discourse was astounding to me. Because part of me was hoping to hear people, well, one, I was mesmerized by like how they started treating Johnny like some kind of fucking hero. Like, I get it because, male abuse victims never really get any spotlight.
Right.
And I get that, but he's not some hero. Don't make a petition for him to get whatever back, because Disney and him have had a tumultuous relationship from the beginning. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Why is it that we're seeing it live? We are all there, and yet we, for some fucking reason, can't consolidate. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was wrong doing this. Hey, she was wrong doing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
This whole situation is her fault. And yeah, the court, all of that shit was her. He brought her to court because she refused to work shit out with him.
Right.
She brought this on. Oh, wow, she's lying. Wow, her lawyers are lying. He seems pretty sincere about this. Oh, he admitted to doing this? Oh, he's a druggie. oh wow, she is arrogant as shit. Nobody was saying this shit. Instead, it was just people arguing if one of them is a good guy, one of them is a bad guy. You know what? I just realized Disney fucked us all up because we think everybody's a good guy and everyone's a bad guy. They just fucked us right the hell up.
Did they start
Holy
that?
shit. We just all think there's a good guy and a bad guy. And yeah, I know our entire society has been doing that for years because America is always the good guy, even when they're fighting themselves.
Yeah, I mean that's every situation. It goes back to what I said. Sometimes both people could be the bad guy. You know, it's possible. Doesn't always have to be so binary.
Like some people might not be as bad as we think. Some people might not be as good. But holy shit, like, again, the degenerate. I call him degenerate because his content is definitely not for everybody. And like, I'm not even an anime fan, but holy shit, he's a big anime nerd, and he has such like nuanced takes on certain things, among saying the grossest shit. But he had a thing about the Amber Heard topic, and one of the things he said was like, don't silence her. I don't give a shit if she's in Aquaman or not. I don't care. But if you take away her ability, because according to the law, she was wrong. So if you take away her ability to work, then she can't live out the punishment that she's supposed to, which was to pay Johnny Depp.
Right.
And if you do that, all she's going to do is slink off and find some other dude that she could do this to, or find somebody who's not as involved or knew most of what was going on, and just live off of them. She's not going to learn anything if we just cancel her, or if we just tear them down completely. No, she got punished. She got ostracized publicly. That's it.
Yeah, people forget about that as well. You know, it's just like, let the punishment be the punishment, and then it doesn't have to be an ongoing thing. You don't need to be the one dealing out the punishment too, right? Like,
yeah,
that's not your responsibility. That's not your job. Like I said before, like there's people to handle these things. You don't have to be the person that handles it.
Yeah, the system doesn't work that great, but it's at least a system supposedly not based on emotion. Emotion, again, gets us going, but it does not mean that we make decisions off of that shit.
Well, should.
And have you ever made a smart emotional decision?
No, there's no such thing. That's an oxymoron.
Exactly. We call that impulse control problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I don't know.
So,
it's just such a loaded. This was, you know what I like about this episode?
We stayed on topic longer.
Yeah, we were on topic like pretty much the whole time. We didn't like delve off in like too many tangents, maybe a couple here and there, but
I said less rambly, and then
less rambly later. Yeah, well, okay, but we're still a little short of our last couple episodes at an hour and a half. It's still a shorter episode. We'll get there. We'll figure out a happy. You know what? I don't care. The way I feel about the episode, Lance, is if we stick to something too rigid, it doesn't allow us to be as free in what we're talking about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that's it. It's almost time to pick up the children's.
Yeah.
So thanks, guys, for listening. We appreciate it. As usual, feel free to like, subscribe, follow, whatever, on whatever podcast platform.
Share it with anybody that you feel wants to hear this.
Yeah, if you love the podcast, share it with a friend. If you hate the podcast, share it with an enemy. And if you've got any comments, any feedback on anything we talked about, hit us up on social media.
Please,
Twitter.
Greatly appreciate it if we get suggestions.
Yeah, it would be nice.
I'm kind of excited for that to start happening.
Me too. I'd really like to get a little bit of feedback as far as what we're saying, and I'm totally open to people who are like, "Yeah, you're fucking wrong. Like you're completely wrong. Here's why." I'm totally for that because I love, you know, an open exchange of information is the best. I know I'm not right about everything, and I like being proven wrong.
I try to pretend that I know that as well.
Well, we both like obviously try to pretend we know a lot of stuff that we're talking about here. We really don't. We don't. You know, we're just, like we said, it's as we understand it. It's the way we interpret things. So thanks, guys, for listening. We will talk to you next week.
Take care.
It's a fucking jam, man.